Chapter anyway. Well, we've been looking at validation. Our feeling is that actually this could make a really big impact. We think that HEFKey should encourage institutions to trial agile and proportionate validation and approvals processes that are designed to assure quality for assembling what we describe as short-run, flexible learning offerings, rather than the long-run traditional programs that a lot of quality assurance stuff has been set up for. We think this is particularly important to respond to the Leach agenda, employers' needs for developing the workforce, and more personalised learning that suits changing learner demographics, and ultimately gives us better, more tailored awards. In terms of how ready people are for doing this, we feel that some institutions are ready to engage because we know some already are. Staffage's got a flexible approvals process called FLAP. Bolton's got the interdisciplinary inquiry-based learning IDABLE. So we do know that they're ready and able to do it, but we're going to have to get the QAA on board. We need institutions who are able to work through what a workable, agile process would look like for them, and I reckon we'll need some funding to make space for that suitable reflection and a national peer support group to help people do it.
Okay, it's all been said before, but informal learning using net resources. There's still a great need to teach the teachers how you can use the net to build learning resources for yourself. Our suggestion is that we produce teaching material, videos showing this whole process in action with students, so that we can teach the teachers, release this as a video to show people how the net can be used and how the students can be taught how to use the net and how to use discrimination and how to build their own resources to aid their continuous learning.
We've been discussing how there may be new challenges to the task of marking to a wide range of lecturers as we adopt flexible learning, and particularly the opportunity for students to choose what they present for assessment. If they present, for example, a range of media and genre, if they present their own inquiry, then what the marking team end up with is a pile of scripts, movies, music, songs, who knows what, and with the task then of trying to make good judgments about which ones should pass, which ones should have which grades. Now, the old atomic marking, by which I mean you take each piece of a clear rubric and a clear examination set of questions and try and give micro marks for each part, don't work too well in that situation. That's what I think we agree. And not many teachers are necessarily prepared for this kind of marking, and therefore they may find themselves under great stress as they try to be more flexible and meet the needs of students. So that's the what. The drivers, I suppose, are...
This is a 30-second pitch, this, by the way.
Oh, God, well, I'm well over now. Shall I carry on or not?
It's a very tall building, this elevator.
The drivers are our desire. Our drivers are our desire to meet the needs of students in this way. The impact, as I think I've said already, I'm beginning to realise I've said all these things, so you can cut this later. But the impact is on the teachers, tutors, being stressed with new and heavy-duty tasks to do. The readiness for us to do this, it seems to me, is strong because we now have technology to support the organisation of marking, and therefore we can now think of new ways in which we can go for this. And the particular interest that I've been particularly expressing in this meeting is around the work of Alistair Pollitt, which talks about marking by pairwise comparison. And when you do that, arguably with a distributed team of tutors, you need technology to present the materials to the markers, and you need the technology to help the pairwise comparisons to be statistically gathered together to give a ranking for all the work. That's where there might be some really interesting new work to do. What we learnt from today in discussion is that the possibility is there for us to invite the students to do the marking in the same way, in this kind of interesting new way, and then feed back to them whether or not they are making good judgments in comparison to experienced tutors or successful students. And then the feedback from that might help them to begin to understand how they judge their own work in future and improve their submissions for assessment.
Go on.
The intervention we'd like to see, of course, is a suitcase full of cash so we can run the project to develop a project called social marking, which allows us to embody these ideas in a playground of new marking tools, and with hope that will inform the further development of this thinking.
So we've been looking at accreditation of prior learning, and we see a close connection with information, advice and guidance processes, which is often closely connected to. At the present time, practice is piecemeal, and we need models of experiential learning which can provide something which is more coherent. The drivers for this need are really the increasing richness of pre-HE qualifications and the availability of electronic data for the first time through learner records provided through MyApp and things like SAP records from employers. There is the demand for this particular area comes from both employers and employees and other people looking for work for workforce development. So again, there's clear drivers for a number of different stakeholders. Why is this area ready for development? Because there's an underlying need for more students and an underlying need within this economy for targeted skills which the individual needs to progress socially and materially, and the employer needs in order to make a profit in a very difficult kind of marketplace. The interventions JISC should carry out really flow on from the work that it's commissioned from NIACE on this area, but also from the practical technical work that it's developed through, for example, the Derby Estimator Service. In future, JISC might want to consider developing process maps to identify specific leverage points and how we can co-opt MyApp and make it HE friendly. This probably requires us to provide or to develop business models to ensure that whatever technical services we produce are scalable and will reduce the cost so that there's a clear incentive for universities to deliver high quality education valued by the learners and by the employers, which is the rationale for the process.
What is it? Flexible learning, we've interpreted that as, in practical terms, in terms of decoupling the various chunks of the virtual learning environment so that we can provide more flexibility for learners in their learning opportunities. The three chunks that we've distinguished are negotiating and planning your learning path, and then linking out to X number of different learning environments, learning opportunities, and then reporting those things back to the institution. So we're trying to decouple those big chunks of the virtual learning environment. To do that, we need a layer, a coordinating layer, which brings those things together. So the thing is that we're proposing the coordinating layer. It will be high in impact because it would be the enabling technology for offering flexible courses on the one hand, and leveraging the different new learning environments, free learning environments available in the web. And what the intervention should be, something needs to be developed, the coordinator layer needs to be developed, exemplification of how flexibility can be exploited in current environments, and a survey and a mapping of existing configurations and descriptions of the three different areas which are identified. Not necessarily in that order. Okay.